Pronto, Vincenza.
Pronto, Randy, and welcome everyone to the first episode of our lifestyle podcast, where we're excited to talk about all the beautiful things life have to offer: fashion, self care, goals, inspiration, favorite memories, current events, and much, much more. The sky is the limit.
Thank you, Vincenza.
Mhm.
Really excited to have our first show and a really exciting guest. Let me tell you a little bit about how we came up with Pronto.
Yes, I think our guests should know how we came up with the name Pronto. And so I'll let you share with everyone because I'm sure people are curious about, okay, why Pronto?
Yeah, I have a product company, cosmetic product company, and it's produced in Italy. And I go every year. And the first time I was there, every time somebody is answering the phone, they say Pronto.
Mhm.
And I said, why do you say that? They said, ready.
Mm.
So we think it's a great lead into a show. Are you ready for conversations of life?
That's right. And I loved it when Randy shared the idea with me over the phone. He's like, I have an idea, Vincenzo, for the name of the show. And I said, okay, good, because I have no idea. This is my first experience doing a podcast, as
Mine
right?
also.
So first time for everyone.
Yeah.
And we wanted to make sure the name represented us well, right? And the brands that in the brand and what we represent, in our own lives. And I thought it was genius. I really did. I was like, Randy, you're really good at this. You're very, very clever. And obviously it's Italian. So being Italian, it was another connection to the name
Half,
Pronto.
half Italian.
Half Italian. Okay. That's all right. Well, you're gonna be full Italian on the show.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Or before the end of the show, you'll be
Yeah,
full Italian. But we're just so excited to have this podcast and start something like we call conversations of life, which I really, really love. And I have the honor of doing this with you. So thank you.
My honor. Thank you.
So Randy, I know that we have an exciting show ahead of us. Before we dive into talking about our guests, I would love to talk about your recent trip. I know that you were well traveled. You love to travel all around the world, but you were recently somewhere really exciting. So why don't you share with our guests tuning in about where you visited recently?
Yeah, and it's really because of our guests that I ended up doing hiking the Grand Canyon. Mena and I was out to lunch, and she mentioned a retreat, meditation retreat for 10 days. And I was really interested in doing it until I found out you had to share a bathroom with like 40 people. So I thought, I want to do something that challenged myself. And so I came up with hiking the Grand Canyon. And, first 100 yards, I thought to myself, I made a big mistake.
Okay.
Yeah, it's incredible. Like the canyon's 4 billion years old, and it's
Look
really
at these
incredible.
pictures.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
This is when we finished, the rim trail. It's 22
Wow.
miles total, and it was 128 degrees at the base of the canyon.
Oh my
So,
goodness.
and we're carrying 35-pound packs.
Wow.
Yeah.
So this was a new experience for you.
Yes.
First time experience.
Yeah.
Now, would you do it again?
No.
One and done.
Yeah, I have run a marathon.
Mhm.
In 1985, I did Philadelphia Marathon, and then I did a 100-mile bike race. And this is my third outing, the Grand Canyon. I'm finished.
Finished. Well, you can say that you traveled the Grand Canyon in your life.
Yeah.
I can't say that.
Yeah.
So and many can.
Well,
So now you can.
The guide was telling us less than 1% of the people in the world have hiked rim to rim the Grand Canyon. North rim to south rim. It's like 22 miles, and it's 8,000 foot elevation drop to the base of the canyons, and then 8,000 back up. So it's really challenging.
Oh, I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
So what's next? Do you have another trip planned after this one, or you need to take a break?
I would love to go to India, on a
Mm.
meditation kind of journey.
Well, that would be fun.
Yeah.
And different,
Yes.
something different. You always like to travel. I know something I've learned, and for the viewers and guests tuning in, something I've learned about Randy, he loves to travel and try different and new things, but very out of the box, which I think
Yeah.
you'd like to step out of that comfort zone and really try something different to challenge you and to really push your limits. But also, you always focus on meditation. I noticed
Yeah.
that, and
Yeah.
I see that on your social media. You always post inspirational quotes. And something that I've also learned about Randy, that he meditates every morning, right?
Yes.
Yes.
20 minutes. I get up at quarter till, 4:45, and I meditate 20 minutes.
And that really sets the tone for the day.
Yeah. I think it's changed my life. I think everybody should look into meditation.
And I practice yoga myself and meditation because I do think it's important to calm the mind because we can get lost in the chaos.
Yeah.
I know that I'm I'm guilty of it,
Yeah.
where I get distracted with things going on and I get lost in the chaos, that I have to ground myself.
Right.
And sometimes I'm the only person that can do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you have to self coach,
Yeah.
self meditate, and just reground yourself to reset.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Resetting is really important just so you can move on to the next step or the next challenge
Right.
that you are faced with. So,
And really get in touch with yourself.
right.
Like that's something I share with Mena, our guest. We're into meditation and vibration and all
Right.
this good things.
Well, speaking of our guest, I know that she's been waiting so patiently, and we're so excited to have her on our first episode, our first guest.
Yeah.
So it's a real honor to have her. I have to introduce her because just her resume alone is so impressive, and we're just so fortunate to have her on our show today. So speaking of accomplishing goals, our first guest is crushing goals left and right. She's an entrepreneur, mom, wife, sister, daughter, friend, and lover who has set out to elevate the collective consciousness of humanity. So we're just so, so excited to have her on the show. By trade, she is a doctor of Chinese medicine, also inspiring others to take charge of their health. So how fitting that she's our first guest on the show to talk about self-help, meditating, yoga. Also, she has practiced over 10 years and continues to treat patients while taking on the role and founder and CEO of Bougie Hippie Lifestyle brand, which I'm really excited to talk more about that. So Mena is an avid yogi, enjoys travel, eating delicious healthy food, deep diving into conversation over a cocktail or a cup of tea. Sounds like my kind of gal. So I can't wait to chat with her. But she's also a firm believer in life and being about the journey and not the destination. I actually say that line so much.
Wow.
It's all about the journey, not the destination. So I could see that we're going to connect really well, but we're just so excited to have her on the show. So without further ado, I think we should welcome
One
her.
more quick story about Mena. Like in 2014, she applied for acupuncture at the salon, and we said, "No, let's see what this person all about." And I pictures a little Chinese woman, and Mena came in, and she was like a supermodel. So that's where I met Mena, and I'm so glad I did.
Well, excellent. I think she's waiting to dive into the interview. So, Mena, I would love to welcome you to our first episode of Pronto.
Glad I did.
Welcome, Mena.
Excellent. I think she's waiting to dive into the interview. So, Mena, I would love to welcome you to our first episode of Pronto.
Mena, can you hear us now?
Hi guys. Yeah, we're having a little bit of some audio issues here. I would love to welcome you to our first.
Oh, I can tell. Yeah, there's a little bit of an echo. I love it. First episode, there's always has to be technical difficulties, right, Randy? We always have to have some technical difficulties
That's
for
the way I roll.
Right. But that's okay because we roll with it, right? And it's all about rolling with the punches and rolling with the technical difficulties. So while they're trying to figure that out on our end, we can touch on a couple of other things that I definitely wanted to share with the viewers that I didn't get to touch on. Was a little bit about myself.
Yeah.
I know that if you don't know who I am, my name is Vincenza Carrieri Russo. I'm also the owner of V&M Bistro, which is an Italian restaurant in North Wilmington, Delaware. I'm also the executive director of the Miss Delaware USA and Miss Delaware Teen USA organization. So that's something actually brand new role that I've taken on. I'm going into my third year with
Wow.
that. Really excited about that new role. And I know I've had the opportunity to share my passions in the pageant world, but I'm no stranger to the pageant world. So actually a former Miss Delaware USA. Very, very excited to now be on the other end of things and helping other young women and aspire to their goals and dreams and help them follow their dreams. And again, going back to what I said earlier, it's about the journey versus the destination. So I'm really, really honored to be a part of so many young women's journey now. So now that with this new role, I have the ability to impact women on a much larger scale because truly my job is to empower women.
Wow.
And that in itself is just an honor. So I'm really excited about that.
As a role model, like your work ethic is out of sight. Like I thought no one works for more than me, Vincenza.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, my motto is better to be busy than to be bored, right? So on top of doing that, I'm also the co-host of Good Morning Wilmington at DETV, that was a newer role that I took on, but I was so, so honored and proud to obtain that position because I love hosting.
Wow.
I love it. I love it. And all the wonderful people that I get to meet. It's truly inspiring for me, but it allows me to keep on working hard towards my goals and dreams because you do need you do need some reminders here and there, right?
When did you start getting into the pageant world?
Oh gosh, I want to say I was 16 years old when my mom brought to my attention. She was like, "Vincenza, would you like to try this Miss Delaware Teen USA pageant?" And I'm like, "Sure." I had no idea what I was doing. I was a tomboy growing up. I had no idea what I was doing. I said, "Sure, I'll try it." So, without any experience, having no knowledge what I was doing, first try, fourth runner up, I was hooked.
Wow.
Yep. 9 years later, I finally won Miss Delaware USA in over 30 pageants. So the
Wow.
rest was history. But I have to tell you, going back to the saying, it's all about the journey versus
Right.
the destination. And
Yeah.
along the way, I met so many incredible people.
Right.
I learned so much about myself. I mean, the confidence building, the communication skills. I was able to learn and apply so many of these skills or learn so many skills that I apply in my everyday career to this day, even in
Wow.
the restaurant, not just on Good Morning Wilmington, but also at the restaurant. I'm applying these communication skills. I'm talking to total strangers almost every single day, and I'm
Right.
not afraid to.
Right.
And that's because of all the pageants I competed in. It helped me develop those skills and the confidence that I need to succeed in life.
Yeah. I have a thing like living in the now,
Mm,
like not the past or the present, but
right.
like being focused on what's happening now.
Exactly. Yes. And I always look back at all those pageants I competed in because I share with everyone all the time. I know the feeling of defeat far too well.
Right.
I know the feeling of rejection far too well. And I've always learned it's pick yourself up, try it again.
Yeah.
Pick yourself up, try it again.
That's what shapes you. Like if you don't have defeats, you don't know what
You
feels like it to win.
Right.
Right.
But you don't learn.
Yeah.
And that's what's more powerful is that you're
Yeah.
learning to grow and be better than you were before.
Right.
And I actually, I'm a person, you may appreciate this. I'm a person of word choices, using different words and changing the word choices you use on life. So I always used to say, strive for perfection. That's what I would used to say, but I changed that. There's no such thing as perfect.
Right.
Strive for excellence.
Right.
Strive to be better.
Right.
That's a better way of thinking, a better mentality versus, oh, you have to be perfect at everything you do. And I'm far from it. Far from it. There are times I remember that I remember when I first started or competing in pageants, I had no idea what I was doing and I couldn't even put two words in a sentence.
Right.
And I look back at those days, I'm like, wow, I've come a long way, but I'm still practicing to be
now
better.
you're coaching other people to
Oh,
win
yes.
pageants.
Yes. Yeah. Now with the role of the executive director, I have the ability to guide young women toward their goals and their personal journey. And that's again, truly rewarding. And just to mention, just because it is newer news, my current title holders, Miss Delaware USA, Grace Lang, and Miss Delaware Teen USA, Ava McMurray, are actually preparing for their national competitions.
Wow.
So Ava will be competing for the Miss Teen USA competition, and Grace will be competing for the Miss USA competition. And both are held the same week in Reno, Nevada, the first weekend of October. So really, really excited, and we're preparing them. So they've been getting ready, and I've actually had the honor of sharing this journey with Randy, and I know you've been very supportive with Ava,
they
the
were, you
team.
know, it's really exciting. Ava's coming in the salon, and Brandon, who works at the Hotel de Pont.
Yes, shout out to Brandon here,
Yeah,
Curry
yeah.
Hair Salon and Nails.
He's really doing a marvelous job, and we're so happy. She's a beautiful girl. So, yeah.
Yes. And I have to share, if you don't mind, if I share with everyone, right? Okay. I have to give a shout out, mine as well. So we are very fortunate that Curry Hair Salon and Nails, obviously by the supervision of Randy Curry himself and Brandon, have been able to sponsor our teen, Miss Delaware Teen USA, Ava McMurray, with all of her hair care, making sure that her hair is going to look incredible on that Miss Teen USA stage. And
Thank
it
you.
already is, I mean, just beautiful. We are very, very fortunate to have your support, very fortunate to have your guidance, because that's really what it is important, that you're guiding these young women, especially Ava, who is learning how to style her hair and may not understand all the different products out there. So your guidance is what is so valuable to us. So thank you.
And she's truly a beautiful girl. So it's our pleasure to do her hair.
Yes, yeah, she's been so excited about the experience and working with your team. I mean, top notch, first class. If you haven't had the opportunity to visit Curry Hair Salon and Nails, you must. I mean, we should share everyone where we're at right now. We are actually at the Hotel DuPont location right now, and it is magnificent. I mean, just look at the greenery behind us. I mean, just the details. And Randy, why don't you share everyone? Because he gave me a tour of the place, and it has a lot of history. So why don't you share everyone about the history of Hotel DuPont's Curry Hair Salon and Nails location?
Well, it was a really big undertaking. You know, we signed a lease and started the demolition, and then COVID shut us down. Right, so we were struggling through COVID. Like all the furniture and fixtures came from Italy, so it was a nightmare to get stuff in. And luckily, things came together. We had an Italian architect that couldn't see the end of the job because he was, trapped in Italy. So it was challenging, but really rewarding. And it's a beautiful salon. And now that COVID's kind of quieted down, people are working downtown, and it's doing fabulous. So.
And that's what's important. It's continuing to be successful and grow, because yes, COVID, this pandemic and COVID-19 did put a dent on many businesses trying to blossom. Oh yes, the restaurant industry was impacted tremendously, and not in a good way. And trying to figure out, navigate your way to survive this pandemic, because that's really what it's about. We've been in survival mode, whether you're a restaurant or a hair salon. We're all places of gathering and people coming together for a service, and we were affected directly. So trying to pivot, as the word that they use, pivot to try to navigate the best way that's possible for your business. And I think you guys did a great job here.
Thank you. And it really changes the atmosphere of the salon business. That getting employees is really difficult, and I understand it's restaurants.
Oh yes, every industry, I think, right at this moment it has been affected and hit so hard. Just trying the staffing shortage has been really tough, really, really tough. And I'm hoping that there's a light at the end of this tunnel, because I feel like we're going through another hurdle and another hurdle. And I'm hopeful. I'm naturally an optimistic person, but I'm hopeful that there's light at the end of this tunnel for all small businesses, not just the restaurant industry, for your industry, but for all small businesses, because we put our heart and soul in everything. In this, I put my heart and soul into the restaurant, and I would hate to see it not to fail. It will be 8 years in October since we've opened up the doors of V&M Bistro. And it would be heartbreaking to see it fail. And, I always say it's in God's hands, and we have to pray about it a little bit, but we have to continue to push forward and stay optimistic with in hopes that things will get better. But the only thing we can do is self-meditate, self-coach,
Well,
stay positive.
if you ever seen the pictures of the pizzas they produce, like,
Oh,
that's enough to make you drive over there
okay, good.
and, order a pizza.
Speaking of all this food,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I always joke with everyone because actually everyone jokes with me. How do you stay fit working at the restaurant with all the pizza and the pasta and the bread?
They don't
Well,
know you
yeah.
have 10 jobs.
I don't have time to eat. No, I taste. That's the
Yeah,
key. Taste, because you have to, taste for quality
yeah,
control. But I also maintain a balance. It's all about balance.
right,
That's where it
yeah,
comes down to. And I'm sure you can, attest to, also agree with me
right,
that it's all about balance. And, you can treat yourself to the pizza, pasta, ice
right,
cream. We have
right.
boozy ice cream. I
Yeah,
mean, it's so good. And I love eating the boozy ice
yeah.
cream my sister makes. And I'm I'm always tasting it. And it's funny because I always have to take it slow because it's
It's
really boozy.
it's soft serve, right?
So we have an ice cream business. My family owns an ice cream business called Ice Cream Delight, and we've had that for about a little over 17 years now.
Oh,
Yes, and
wow.
it's over. We offer over 52 flavors of soft serve ice cream. Now that's separate from V&M Bistro, and the boozy ice cream is a part of V&M Bistro, and that's where if you wanted a little bit of a spiked ice cream or a little bit of a ice cream with a kick, you go to V&M Bistro for that. But no, it's oh my gosh, it's so good. We actually recently participated in an event called Best of Delaware. I don't know if you've ever been. I think you have been. Wait a second.
Well,
Yes, you
I
go
didn't want
there.
to brag, but we won Best Massage in Delaware and
As you
Pennsylvania.
should.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank
Hats
you.
off to you and your
Yeah,
team for being awarded the best of. And I think there's nothing wrong with that because the hard work pays off. I
yeah.
truly believe that. And your team, you talk about consistency, Randy. You are all about consistency with all of your locations and
40,
salons.
45 years this year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Did you hear that? 45 years in the industry.
Yeah.
And how many locations?
5.
5.
And
Tremendous.
I was
Tremendous.
22 years old when I started. And I didn't know
Wow.
what I was doing.
Wow. That's okay.
And still
That's
don't.
all right. But that's all right. But you keep going.
Yeah.
That's what matters. You keep going. And if you don't know, you learn.
Yeah.
And that's all that matters. But going back to the Best of Delaware event, we participated in the Best of Delaware event, which was held here in Wilmington, Delaware. And we were able to serve our boozy ice cream. And it was really neat to be able to share our product with so many guests that attended the event. So I was just really excited
It's a
to be a
really
part of
great
it.
event.
Hmm.
It's I don't know how many people there. It seemed like
Right.
thousands, right?
Right. I do have a question because we are going to get back to our first our guest. Mina's been waiting so patiently as we work through the technical difficulties. But what's a live show without some technical difficulties? So I do have a question for you, Randy. So how did you start Curry? What was the inspiration of beginning
Well,
of Curry Hair Salon and Nails?
I shared with you I had a brother killed in a car accident
Mm.
in 1974, and my cousin who lived in Ridley Township area invited me to come down and go to hair school. He was a barber, and his wife was a hairdresser, and I jumped at the chance. I thought I was going to do it for a couple of years and get out, and then 45 years later or more, I'm still in it and I love it. Like it's the best part about the job is meeting people.
Yes.
And this podcast came about because I shot videos with a gentleman, and he called me and he asked if I ever thought of doing a podcast. And right at the time, another friend of mine introduced me to Vincenza. So it was a perfect, universe presented itself, and
Right.
I
The
took
stars
advantage.
aligned.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
So I always say to Vincenza, I'm her Ed McCann man.
oh
She's a
goodness.
Johnny Carson.
Oh
Like
gosh. Oh gosh. Well, you know what? That it's truly, I always say everything happens for a reason. And like we said, the stars aligned and our paths crossed. And they were eventually going to cross because you were so influential in the community and being a business person, but also being the person at the head of your time,
oh,
continuing to evolve in the beauty industry. And there are so many individuals that look up to you. I may not be in the hair skin and nails industry, but I have a glimpse of the beauty industry
Oh,
from my world, and I can assure you there are so many individuals, not just within the state, but in the tri-state area, or maybe even around the country or the world, that look up to you.
thank you.
The Randy Curry. And I'm not just saying it to saying it's very, very true. And I looked forward to the day that our paths would cross. And I feel honored again
Thank you.
to be by your side. So,
Me
so,
also.
so excited. But without further ado, I think we should bring Mena back. What do you think?
I'm ready.
All right. So there she is, Dr.
Mena.
Mena Rajan.
I'm
Mena,
back.
all right. Mena, thank you so much for your patience. I know first episode, what's, the first episode without some technical difficulties,
I
but
know, right?
right. But thank you so much for coming on our show. We're so excited to have you. So let's dive right into things. Mena, why don't you tell our viewers tuning in a little bit about who you are and your background?
Yeah, I feel like that's such a broad question. Who am I? It's
Mm.
like, who am I? I know what I do, what I've been able to accomplish, and who I am, I guess, is still unraveling. I feel like day by
Mhm.
day, kind of unfolding. But yeah, my trade by profession, I'm an doctor of acupuncture. So I treat people using Chinese medicine, using herbs, um, but using cupping, gua sha, different types of modalities that traditional Chinese medicine uses. And yeah, I am a mother. I have two young girls. They are 8 and 10. They're getting into that kind of pre-tweenish stage right now, so it's been interesting, kind of mirrors back at me what I need to learn from them. So it's been fun.
Mm.
And what else? I am married. I've been married for 13 years, and I am an avid yogi. I think I'm actually addicted to yoga. Oh, that's my brother. He's
Oh,
single, ladies. I thought I had to, give him a little
a
little
little
plug
plug for
here,
him.
little plug,
It's all
looking
about the
for a
family.
girl. Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny. So,
Yeah.
Mina, I'm sorry, you did mention about yoga. So you've made yoga into an art form. Can you tell us about that and how you got into it?
Yeah, it's funny because I had always practiced yoga. I started probably when I was in high school, just kind of going to classes here and there. I mean, at the time, classes for me were like so expensive. They were like $20. And I'm like, oh my God, this is like an expensive class for me to take. So it was kind of far and few between that I would get a practice in. But it really was actually during COVID that I started to kind of like really get into it. I had been going to my local gym here pretty regularly and kind of like was in the back a little bit, just kind of like observing people and, seeing how they could do like certain poses. And, I'd try them later on in the day, not in class because I was a little like embarrassed or, just not comfortable in my body. And then COVID hit and I was like, oh my God, like I need this physical movement. I need to kind of like get into the like emotionality of my muscles and what I'm feeling and kind of release it through the actual form of, breath and movement. So I actually got my yoga certification during COVID, and that kind of lockdown period was actually a really good time. I felt like it was a really good reset for I think the world, and unfortunately, obviously, there's been a lot of kind of negative repercussions as an effect, but there's a lot of good I think that has come out of it also. And for me personally, I think the yoga aspect of it was huge.
Right. And you stayed productive in that moment. You said, let me learn something new or enhance my skills that I already have. And I think
Exactly.
that was very smart of you to do that because now you've progressed to the next chapter in your life. So tell us a little bit about when you were studying for your doctorate and the power of acupuncture.
Yeah, so I actually I started off at school in Southern California, and that's where I met my husband. And I mean, honestly, the one thing that could get a Cali girl to move to the East Coast is like love. That's the only thing that's gonna get. So he got a job opportunity on the East Coast and he was like, we gotta go. And I was like, oh, okay, are you sure about that? So we ended up here on the East Coast. I started my schooling though in Southern California at Pacific College of Oriental Medicine, and then was able to transfer schools to the New York campus and finished out there. So I got my master's there. I also got, oh, look at that little baby, so cute.
That's a great photo.
Yeah.
So yeah, I finished my master's and then was basically grandfathered in with the same school with my doctorate. It took about an additional year of classes to complete that. I did study in China abroad for a month, which was really, really interesting.
Oh, that's
Uh,
neat. Mhm.
yeah, and kind of learned the differences in techniques, Westerners versus how they do it in the East, and very heavy-handed in the East. So it's a little bit different here. We kind of baby our patients a little bit, but still super effective and gets the job done.
I have the pleasure of being on Amina's bed, and like it's a heaven. Like I think people are afraid of like the needle aspect, but
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
don't even feel
Now,
them.
I've never experienced acupuncture before. I've obviously practiced yoga many times, and I've done hot stone massage or other forms of, helping your muscles and de-stressing, but I've never experienced acupuncture before. So that's as someone who has never tried it, how would you maybe, I don't want to, I guess, convince them that it may be beneficial?
Yeah, I think a lot of people they are hesitant of, the pain, but I don't really like to refer to it as pain because it's definitely a sensation. Like you're feeling the energy of your own body moving in your body. So sometimes that's can be a little startling to people because they don't know what that really feels like.
Hmm.
So when you get an activation of a point, like sometimes you may feel something that's like maybe tingling or even like a bubbling sensation. It can be warming. It can travel down a channel line. So it's like all these little different sensations that kind of let you know your body's activating and receiving the treatment well. Some points you don't even feel at all, honestly. It's like quick insertion and you just don't feel it. But really, what it does is help to open up the pathways and the channels in the body so that the blood and the chi, the energy of the body, can flow freely. And it's very much this kind of interconnected little system of networks that works together. So it connects with nerve, limbs, organ systems to help the chi and the blood flow freely in those areas.
Typically, how many needles do you use? Yeah.
It depends. I've anywhere from like 10 to 30, just depending on the treatment, depending on if it's a front treatment, if it's a back treatment. It really just depends on the day.
Wow.
See, that's something, it's learning something new, obviously, because I've always wanted to try acupuncture, but I'm a little bit fearful because, like you
Mhm.
said, Randy, the needles might be intimidating, but it's really helpful to your body and it's healing.
Right.
And I
Yeah,
think that's what many people need to understand, that acupuncture is healing, and
yeah,
it's very
absolutely.
helpful, especially if you have um, chronic pain or
Hmm.
muscle pain. I actually, I don't know if you know, Randy, but I suffer with lupus,
Yes.
and I've been suffering with lupus. I would say I'm fighting lupus. I always like to say I'm a fighter with lupus for over a decade now. And
Hmm.
a part of the symptoms that I experience is chronic pain. I'm
Hmm.
always waking up with a new pain in my body. And that's why
Really?
acupuncture has always been on, the back of my mind, that maybe I should consider, because maybe it could help. It help with
Yeah.
healing or help with the joint pain or the swelling that I may get. And for those of you who don't know, lupus is an autoimmune disease that affects all of your major organs, your heart, your liver, your lungs, your brain, even your skin too.
Wow.
Like
Hmm.
I can wake up with skin rashes. You don't know. You
Wow.
just don't know, and you can't predict or prevent a flare up from happening. But my job, and I always say this is my job because everyone goes through suffering with lupus differently, is to keep my lupus calm
Hmm.
and keep it very calm. And I practice yoga,
Right.
but acupuncture was something that someone had told and suggested to me. So Mina, we might have to connect after
No, we
this.
definitely have to connect
Yeah.
for sure. And
Yeah.
actually, I suffer from an autoimmune disorder also. It's
Mm,
actually it's kind of under the umbrella of lupus. It's called
mhm.
Sjogren's, but
Yes.
with regular treatments, it helps to keep things so much more settled. Like the inflammation is reduced, the pain is
Mhm.
reduced. And honestly, it affects the stress levels too, and the cortisol and the stress hormones that are
Mhm.
created when your body's in a state of like, panic or anxiousness or distress. Like it really helps to kind of calm the system so that these flares that you get, during a lupus flare or Sjogren's flare, whatever kind of
Right.
autoimmune disorder you're facing, like it helps to keep it kind of more relaxed because stress is honestly, it's the number one proxy killer of, Americans. It's just,
Yes.
it's
Yes.
so, if we can keep that at bay and just kind of keep things under control, just even relating to stress itself, we can keep so much more in check.
Yes, no, that's so important, and I'm so happy that you did share with our viewers and us that you do suffer with an autoimmune because
Yeah.
you really understand. You
Yeah,
know what, you know, individuals who are suffering with chronic pain in their body, what they're going through, so you can help them. And
for
that's
sure.
something important for anyone that is interested in experiencing acupuncture or just visiting and speaking with Mina. That this is something to keep in mind that you understand that what it is to go through it, you go through it every day. And I think that's
Yeah.
key to remember because you don't know who is qualified. I'm sure
Hmm.
we can, that can be a
Right.
whole conversation on that,
Right.
who's qualified and
Hmm.
whatnot. But I'm glad that you did mention that
Yeah.
because that to me convinces me even more that, okay, I need to work with Mina because she understands what I'm going through. She has autoimmune. She understands it. And I
Yeah.
think that's key.
And it's
Yeah.
not just the acupuncture.
Hmm.
Mina's always finishes up the session with like massage.
Hmm.
Or,
Twina, yep. Hmm.
Yep.
yeah.
Do
And
you does Curry Hair Salon and nails, do they offer, or any of the locations, the Curry locations offer acupuncture?
not at this minute.
Okay.
Since COVID, like
Right, right.
Mina stayed home with her kids,
Hmm.
and she has a home office that's
Okay.
really lovely.
Hmm.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, Mina, look, I know I have a few more questions for you because I want to make sure we don't run out of time. Why don't you share with everyone about how they can get in touch with you if they wanted to meet with you, consult with you, or even just schedule an appointment with you?
Sure. Yeah. My honestly, my Instagram, doesn't have much of my acupuncture work on there. It's mostly my like artistic yoga art. But you can DM me at bougie hippie, bougie_hippie. That's my handle. Or you
Perfect.
can email me mina.chand@gmail.com. You can call me, whatever, however you want to reach me, I'm available.
Excellent, excellent.
Yeah.
And speaking of bougie hippie, that was actually one of the questions I
Yeah.
wanted to ask you about. So tell us about your bougie hippie lifestyle brand.
Yeah, it kind of came out of nowhere. Like it was one of those things that, I was playing around and with one of my friends, we were just messing around, having a good time. And I wear these really kind of flared, funky print bell bottom pants. And they were like, you should make your own pants. And I was like, oh yeah, maybe I should make my own pants. And it kind of came at a point where I was looking to kind of bring in a new business into my life. Like I was looking into different franchises and it wasn't really kind of panning out. Like nothing, it was just kind of roadblock, roadblock, roadblock. And then this idea kind of came about and I was like, all right, like let me go ahead, let me give this a try. So it's still, in the works, a lot of pre-production things that need to take place, a lot of behind the scenes, a lot of detailed oriented work, which Randy, I know you understand and can get. So it's in the works, and I eventually want to kind of like branch out into different avenues with Bougie Hippie. Maybe do Bougie Hippie kids line, women's line. As far as the fashion's concerned, maybe even do Bougie Hippie wellness. Just do some fun things with it. Maybe even
I'm
retreats.
always trying to convince Mina to do a coffee table book with her poses.
Yeah,
Most
that's
beautiful poses that you ever seen.
Oh, wow, wow. Well, Mina, it seems like this is the beginning of your brand that you and we this is only the beginning. We're going to see it explode, obviously,
yeah. I'm
as you
excited.
continue to thrive in this the bougie hippie lifestyle brand, which is so excited you were able to share with us. We do have one final question before we let you go. So as someone who's passionate about health and wellness,
Mhm.
one piece of advice would you give to our listeners?
Oh wow. I would probably say do something every day to honor yourself.
Mm,
And that's whatever that entails. For some people, maybe that's taking 5 minutes of just quiet time and breathing. Maybe for some people that's taking a walk outside. Maybe it's taking, a bath at the end of the day, but doing something through in your day where you can just honor yourself for a few moments and like really give gratitude for yourself.
mm. I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, no, I appreciate that, and that's so impactful too. That definitely resonated with me. So thank you for sharing that. All right,
Yeah.
one more question because this is something we want to make a tradition here on Pronto podcast. So if you could chat with someone from the past or present, who would they be, and what would you say?
That's a good one too. Um, yeah, I never had the opportunity to meet my father. He actually passed away a month
Mm.
before I was born in a car accident. So I would probably like to speak with him
Wow.
and just kind of like see how we are similar and how we connect and how we are different. And um, yeah, I think that would be really beautiful if I
Wow.
could do that.
Yes. No,
Yeah.
and I appreciate you said that. That's special. That's definitely special. But Mena, this has been a true pleasure to
Yeah.
chat with you. And again, thank you so much for your patience.
Right.
But we are just so
Yes.
excited
Thank you
to have
guys.
you, and honored to have you on our first episode of Pronto
Ah,
podcast. It was definitely truly a treat to have you on the show and learn more about acupuncture and what you're doing, and continue to thrive in your brand with Bougie Hippie. And we wish
mhm.
you so much luck.
And
Great.
anybody wants to get in touch with you, they can call Curry Hair Salon, and we'll
Yes,
give them
absolutely.
the
Oh,
information,
that'd be great. Yeah.
because
Perfect.
there's lots of people want to find you and need you.
Yes, they
I'm
need
in
you for
demand.
sure.
I'm in demand.
Well, Mena, good luck with everything, and thanks again. I hope to meet you in person soon.
Yes, for sure. Soon.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Wow, that was really neat. Oh gosh, you were right. You were
Yes.
so right about her. You said that Vincenza, you're gonna love Mena. You're gonna love her. You really need to
Yeah.
see her. You would benefit from this. I will.
Yeah.
I will definitely
Yeah.
book an appointment with her, because I think that I would benefit on so many levels, not just for my lupus, but I think beyond that too.
Yeah. I think she gives an energy off, and
I could tell.
you can't help but feel good.
I felt great. I mean,
Yeah.
I felt her energy even just through the computer. I felt that she has so much positivity
Right.
that she gives off even through a device. I'm like, wow, she's someone really special to be
Yeah.
next to. I would love to be in the same room as her
Yeah.
and get to know her some
Yeah.
more. But I mean, what a treat, really it was. So thank you for getting her on the
No,
show.
you know, we're both blessed with being in industries where you meet interesting people. And
Yes.
that's what the meaning behind the show was.
Mhm.
Like, I know so many interesting people that I want to a format for them to tell the people about their lives.
Right. And tell their story.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's special, that we're able to give people a platform to tell their story. And what better way to, bring them here to Pronto podcast to share their story of life and beauty, right? The
Pronto.
beautiful things that life has to offer. But I think we need to close up the show.
All
This
right.
was a great first show,
Yeah,
Randy.
I'm
Great,
really
great
excited.
job, by the way.
Yeah.
You did excellent. How'd I do? This was my first time too.
You're like Johnny Carson.
Oh my God.
Like Ed McMahon.
Well, for everyone tuning in, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Yeah, we really we are honored to be here, honored to come together to really talk about the beautiful things lives have to offer, and we're just so excited to continue the conversation. And make sure you tune in for episode 2.
Stay ready.
Oh yes, that's right. Stay ready. We will have
Okay.
Susie Gaffney. I'm so excited to chat with Susie, a wardrobe stylist and fashionista, right up my alley. So make sure you stay tuned. Follow us on all social media platforms. You can go to Curry Hair on social media platforms, or you can follow me at Chenza on Instagram. I'm on all Twitter, Facebook, you name it, I'm there. Or follow Randy on Instagram. And I believe it's at Randy Curry on Instagram and on social media platforms. And you can tune in for our next episode. So thanks everyone for tuning in.
Thank you, Jen.
Of course.
you.